Invite your criticism to the table. We feast on fear. You share with me a fable about a man who wasn't good enough. The man was me. But I can see your bluff, for you project your deeply rooted worries. I shine the light and all the shadows scurry. We liberate ourselves from self-destruction, for all the lies we tell impede our function. We spread that poison, but in all fairness project our shadows with minute awareness. Perhaps the truest tragedy is how we treat ourselves. Inject this poison in our hearts, perpetuating spells. We don't know who we truly are, so we latch on to fiction. But once you learn to close the book, the world fulfills predictions. For all your power lies in perception of reflection. The master of the mirror is the master of expression. This video is sponsored by the coldest water. So about a month ago, I was filming a day in the life video, and I was at one of my favorite places in the world, this place called Legacy West. And I was having a really good time until this lady asked me this life-changing question. Why do you feel like you're so important that you should be documenting your life? Now, initially, I didn't know how to respond. I was completely caught off guard, completely distraught by this question. From a stranger, mind you, a complete stranger that I had never seen before, at least not to my knowledge. She had the audacity to ask me why I felt like I was so important that I should be documenting my life. But what really messed me up was the fact that I didn't have an answer for her. Now, I want you guys to really pay attention to that. Okay, that lady asked me that question, and that was a neutral event. Had she asked me that question and I knew the answer to that question, it wouldn't have bothered me nearly as much. But me not knowing the answer created a sense of acceptance on my behalf. I accepted her doubt, her projection of her own inner insecurities. Okay, at the beginning of the poem, I said, invite your criticism to the table. We feast on fear. You share with me a fable about a man who wasn't good enough. The man was me. That right there is essentially what the lady did. Okay, she invited me into her world of insecurity and self-doubt. She wasn't asking me why I thought I was important enough. She was telling me that she didn't think that she was important enough. Therefore, she assumed that I and pretty much everyone else in existence should feel the same way that she feels. Because we all assume at a deep level that everybody sees things the way that we do. But the truth of the matter is that I did. I saw things the way that she saw them, and that's why her question messed me up so badly. Okay, now, in the poem, right after that part, I say, but I can see your bluff, for you project your deeply rooted worries. I shine the light and all the shadows scurry. That part right there is very important if you want to learn how to not take things personally. You have to shine the light on your shadows. Now, I could have just taken that criticism or doubt as motivation as I used to in the past. Okay, in the past, I used to have an almost maniacal sense of motivation based on the people who criticized me and doubted me. I would create situations in my head. I would take things completely out of context and assume that people thought that I was incapable because of things that they said. But nobody knows my situation to know what I'm capable of or not capable of. Only I can know that. Therefore, I shouldn't take things personally. But at the time, I did. And I let that fuel me for a very long time, and it got me places. But it never brought me fulfillment. No matter where I got, what accolade I acquired, what achievement I experienced, I never felt fulfilled on my journey because I was doing it for the sake of them and not for the sake of me. Now, when that lady asked me that question, I had two opportunities, okay? I could either take the opportunity to use that as fuel to propel myself on my journey, but still feel that emptiness inside because I knew deep down that she was right, at least at that moment, that I didn't feel important. Or I could use that as an opportunity to do some introspection, to examine the reason why, the root reason why that question bothered me so much. I chose the second choice, and I do not regret it because it brought me to this point right here, where I have a deeper sense of self and an inherent sense of importance. You see, now I know that I'm important because I exist. I'm not important because of my YouTube channel. I'm not important because of my creative abilities or because of my looks or any skills that I have or my success or accolades. Those things don't mean anything because those things are all temporary. My existence is the permanence. Okay, that is the root of my permanence. That is my importance. I'm here to help the purpose of the universe unfold in a divine order, in a divine way, right? So in that way, me documenting my life isn't so much about me being important. It's just me choosing to document my life because that's a part of my individual experience. But like I said, at the time, I didn't see that. I had to do a lot of introspection through these past few weeks and even take a break from YouTube, take a break from the thing that at the time I thought I was the most passionate about, to really figure out the root cause of the distress that that lady caused me. And on a deeper level, that I caused myself, because that lady couldn't have hurt me any more than I hurt myself already. When somebody rejects you or criticizes you, they can't affect you any more than you give those things to yourself. Okay, so like I said earlier, it took a certain level of acceptance on my behalf to validate that question, that loaded question that implied my lack of importance in this world. Now, in the poem after that, I say we liberate ourselves from self-destruction, for all the lies we tell impede our function. We spread that poison, but in all fairness, project our shadows with minute awareness. This is where forgiveness comes into play. Okay, I had to learn that that lady and everybody else who's ever criticized me or doubted me didn't mean to actually cause me harm. All they wanted was to feel understood. They felt like they were incapable or unworthy, or maybe both. And they wanted me to feel the way that they felt so that I could feel their pain. Something that I've maintained throughout the duration of my YouTube journey has been that we all want to feel understood. That is what humans seek out. That is what spirits seek out. We want to feel understood by others. Understanding is the greatest gift that you can give to somebody. And I had to learn that I can understand her, give her the empathy and compassion that she needs and that we all need, while not lowering myself to her level. And when I say lowering myself, that's not to say that I'm better. It's just to say that I'm in a different place. I can see more from where I am than she can see. She was coming from a limited perspective, as was I. But it took her asking me that question for me to realize that I was operating on that same frequency that she was. Okay, so I did understand her pain. And that's why I felt her pain in that moment when she asked me that question. Now, like I said, forgiveness is the key. I had to realize that she was acting unconsciously. Okay, she didn't mean to do that. Or maybe she did, maybe she intended to do that. But at the end of the day, the only way that she could ask me that question is if she, at a deep level, felt like she was unimportant. Therefore, everyone else should feel the same way that she felt. You see, the ego does not like to be wrong. When you operate from the level of the ego, you're going to try to impose your will, subconsciously, mind you, on other people. Okay, and this is where people start to create conflict, manufacture drama out of thin air, as that lady did on that day. But like I said, it's not her fault. It's her responsibility, but it's not her fault. It's nobody's fault. Okay, somebody else probably projected their insecurities onto her, conditioned her with their insecurities, and she's just carrying on that lineage of limiting belief systems. Okay, that might be all she's known in her life. I don't know what occurred in her life to make her feel that way. But what I do know is that I had to forgive her, and I had to forgive everybody else who I felt doubted me. And once I did that, once I stopped taking things personally, like Michael Jordan, okay, trying to take every single thing personally and use it as fuel, not only did I find a sense of fulfillment from where I stood at that point in time on my journey and moving forward, but I was also able to find a sense of peace in my own day-to-day life from not holding on to these grudges. And I was able to see them from a different perspective, okay? All of their criticism, all of their doubt, I was able to see it from a different perspective. Like I said, when you raise your frequency and you move from a place of forgiveness and peace and understanding, that allows you to see pain from a bird's eye view. And you see the big picture. And you understand that it was never personal. They were never trying to cause harm to you. They were only giving you the only type of love that they knew how to give themselves. Let that one sink in. In the poem, I also said, perhaps the truest tragedy is how we treat ourselves. inject this poison in our hearts, perpetuating spells. We don't know who we truly are, so we latch on to fiction. But once you learn to close the book, the world fulfills predictions. So that right there is poetic code for you not knowing who you are, you not having a strong sense of self, allows these people's projections to seep into your psyche, to seep into your subconscious mind, and create limiting belief systems in your mind that prevent you from manifesting the life that you desire. You see, a lot of people, they have these big aspirations deep down, and they want to express the essence of who they are, but the limiting belief systems are stopping them from doing so. You have to understand that everything that you want is already trying to get to you, just like you're trying to get to it. But the limiting belief systems act as a barricade that only you can remove. You have to consciously remove the limiting belief systems that you have, and that involves a lot of shadow work. And a lot of times it involves a catalyst. In my case, it was that woman asking me that question on that particular day. For other people, it might be getting rejected or cheated on or something else. Maybe your parents abuse you emotionally. I can't speak on what that will be for you. But what I do know is that when you experience that catalyst, you'll have the same two options that I had. You can either use it as motivation and get somewhere in life, but never get anywhere internally, or you can take the opportunity to do some shadow work, figure out the essence of who you are, such that nobody else's opinions can ever affect you ever again. And you can remove those limiting belief systems from your psyche and allow the flow of abundance to enter your life. Okay, the last few lines of the poem: for all your power lies in perception of reflection. The master of the mirror is the master of expression. You getting to know who you are and mastering yourself, your reflection, being able to look in the mirror and genuinely love what you see, being able to love yourself when nobody else is watching. That is how you manifest your desires. Because not only are you manifesting the things that you desire, but you are allowing the emotions associated with the fulfillment of those desires to reach you in the present moment.